Chapter 6. Time, December 19th, just after 11 a.m. Place, the front of Silverfinch Visitor Center. Lucky Holiday exited the establishment after extending thanks to Lara for the insight and direction that she was able to provide to Lucky. Just as she mentioned, upon exiting, there were clear signs that pointed directionally toward Town Hall and other locations. He followed snowy cobblestone amidst Christmas decorations on his way. He walked to the sound of music, footsteps, laughter, and cheer. Community here. As he walked toward the town hall, he ruminated, wondering more the more he learned. The 12 tapestries between, how could this be? Another place parallel or tangent or perpendicular to Earth? Who knew, he wondered, because he certainly remained confused. But this Mayor Thones, maybe, hopefully, could assist him, he thought. He tried to remember the emergency crash landing, any details he could. Was it a crash or a landing? A landing, right? The platform. What was that? The door. Another dimension? Shaw. Shaw, whatever happened to him, was right about everything, it seemed to Lucky. Shaw was right. The mystery, however, was all but solved. What Shaw was right about, in fact, remained unclear. That he was right, though, this seemed certain. The Bermuda Triangle, I suppose. Lucky couldn't believe it, all these years, not knowing. Decades of life, unaware. His thoughts were stilled, though, for in the air a snowball crossed his sight from his right side. He watched it sail across the sky through the air, seemingly not intended for him, soaring like the cycle of the sun, before it began its descent downward to the left side of him, where it landed on a child's back. A child who was bundled up in many layers of shirts, it appeared. It landed with a gentle and comical thud upon the boy's thick-coated back, knocking the young man, who must have been not even 10 years old, into a big pile of snow upon contact. Seeing it happen, you could tell that the kid helped the process along, clearly wanting to fall into the snow, as it makes for a better story. A child's imagination is endless and profound. The boy laughed with the heartiness of an earnest child whose parents or siblings also like to laugh. He laughed, and the girl to his right who threw the snowball laughed, and Lucky Holiday laughed. The girl, also about the same age as the boy, brothers and sisters maybe, or schoolmates or friends or something, Lucky thought, looked over at Lucky as he chuckled at their antics. She eyed him up and down before saying, "Those sure are some strange clothes, mister." As she did, the young boy flipped and flopped around in his many-layered get-up. Lucky had noticed, in addition to Lara's comments, that all the people that he'd encountered were dressed not in modern clothes, but instead in clothes that appeared something adjacent to what you'd see in films about the past, though Lucky would not assume anything other than that it was different than the place he was from. Lucky was not a major history buff, but it was just as those you might see in medieval movies and things like that. They wore layered shirts, some of them with hoods, strong laced boots of whatever type of thick cloth or hide or leather, Lucky wasn't sure. They had natural tones of blue and green and red and gray and tan. Some people had stronger and more popping colors too, but they seemed less prevalent from Lucky's few observations thus far. So he imagined his clothes must look strange. His fedora, his trench coat, his modern shoes and pants. His shirt and tie and his laptop bag, they all must have seemed quite strange to the youngster. Both the girl and the boy approached Lucky, and he said, "I suppose they are a bit strange, aren't they?" To them, chuckling at the innocent comment of the girl, who had blonde hair and blue eyes. "Who are you, mister?" the boy asked him. The boy's hair was brown and his eyes were hazel, Lucky saw. "I'm Lucky Holiday. It's nice to meet you. What are your names?" "I'm George," said the boy. "I'm Katie. Nice to meet you, too," said the girl at the exact same time, both eager to speak to the funnily dressed Lucky. "I don't think I've seen you here before. What brings you to Silverfinch, mister?" George precociously asked, as an immediate follow-up to his greeting. "Did you come out of Pyrosilith Woods?" Katie asked, simultaneously again. Both children asked questions at the same time to Lucky, so he answered both fairly quickly in response. "Well, it is a long story, really," he said to George. And to provide a simultaneous answer to Katie, he said, looking over his shoulder at the woods they pointed to. "And yes, I did come out of the woods over there, if that's what they're called, Katie. It is nice to meet you both." "Wow, you must be really chilly. It is really cold out, and in the woods it can get even colder. I went there with my Aunt Vanessa and my sisters, and it was really cold, and the snow was really deep when we went. You better make sure you stay warm. But that coat looks pretty good for that, I guess," she said to him. "I went there with my Uncle Peter, too, and it was cold. Remember, you came too that time, Katie," he said to Lucky and asked to Katie at the same time. They spoke over each other, like two great friends who were eager to be good stewards of the town's hospitality, who clearly had a strong community that they felt a part of. "It is pretty cold, but I'm hanging in there, thanks, guys. I was able to warm up a little bit in the visitor center there, and now I'm heading to Town Hall to go talk to Mayor Thones about something," Lucky told them as he started to prepare to get back to his task. "My aunt works at Town Hall," Katie spurted out proudly. And George said, "She is assistant mayor. My Uncle Peter runs the inn." Both of them were eager to share that information. "Oh, that's great. Thanks for telling me that, guys. It was really nice to meet you. Have fun playing in the snow," Lucky told them and began on his way. "Thanks, mister. Good luck," they both said as he moved along, following the signs and heading toward Town Hall. Behind him, as he moved on, he heard the two kids giggling again, this time George chasing Katie toward a pile of snow, and the two of them splashing around in the powder and diving in. On the backdrop of the laughter of the children of the town, the hubbub of the rest of the citizenry, and still relaxed by the music that played and the cobblestone rhythm, Lucky continued. It didn't take long, and he reached the large double doors of the building. Town Hall had large, monumental double doors at the entrance, 15 feet tall, mahogany, finish-coated, with a semicircle decorative frosted glass window etched in designs not totally clear at first glance, at the very top, shared by both in the space just above them. A Christmas wreath hung from each of the two doors. Garland was hung from eaves and trim of the large stone building. Christmas lights and decorations, too. In he went, opening the doors and stopping at the front counter. He asked if he could speak with Mayor Thones. The man at the front desk let him know that he would check with the mayor to see if he was available to talk, eyeing his clothes the way the children had. Soon after, he returned and let Lucky know that the mayor would be there to talk shortly and would be out soon. So, Lucky sat down in a chair by the front desk, and he waited. He had nothing else to do but wait. He had no other recourse for the moment, and he didn't intend to leave while this avenue was left unexplored. For 15 minutes or so, maybe 10, who knows for sure, Lucky waited, seated. He was patient. He knew he didn't have an appointment, and he didn't intend for the mayor to be put upon. He simply needed help. So he waited, just for a bit, patiently, quietly. And then the mayor emerged from a large red door, a large and hardy man with a gentle, powerful energy about him, stocky and heroic, knightly, came out to shake Lucky's hand and introduce himself. "Lucky holiday?" he asked, confirming to Lucky what the reception assistant had relayed to him about the person waiting to speak with him. "Yes, sir. Are you Mayor Thones?" "That I am. Nice to meet you, Lucky. Come in," said Thones, and he walked with Lucky into his office. Mayor Thones had 2 large windows and a desk, a great view of the mountain and the city and the lake and the outskirts of the woods. It was well locationed for guardianship over Silverfinch. They walked and they talked around the office, sitting sometimes and standing other times, walking to and from window to decoration to picture to door, Lucky being offered a glass of tea or eggnog or water and going with water for the moment. It was warm in Mayor Thones's office. Lucky explained his situation to the mayor. He spoke with him of the conditions of the town, bringing up the question of the possibility of communication and phones. Thones rebutted him that they don't have those things there in Silver Finch, as the two men speculated collaboratively on what was going on and how Lucky had gotten there. Lights of various types powered by oils, coals, and light stones. A naturally occurring rock that can be mined in the area, he explained.